Lau Wong Fat could be a guy and deliberately set the things up by Donald Tsang.
Sure.
That you can suspect that, right? If you give back the reward. So I think it's a very bad reputation for Donald Tsang, and maybe he's walking the same road as Tong Chihua.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, if any big things happen, the people will shout Donald Tsang step down.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't change or feel guilty about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, something like this reshuffle. I mean, the media and people can scream and shout about it, but ultimately, what can people do to stop it? But I mean, obviously, the one thing that the Donald Tsang's got to think about is popularity, isn't it? And the popularity of the government. And just lots of these little decisions like this, you see, it does affect the way people view the government. They erode. Yeah. Which obviously in the long term it does affect things, I think.
Yeah.
So perhaps we're going to move on. I think to talk a bit about Obama, because obviously that's one of the big world stories over the past week or two, and so on. I mean, it was a pretty remarkable thing for the first African American to become president. And so on. Did you guys watch it on
Yes,
TV?
I watch it.
And obviously you could sense, I think, just watching it on TV how big an event it was. But what I would be interested to ask you guys and have some discussion. I mean, could that happen in China or Hong Kong? Could, for example, an Indian. Okay, this is an interesting question.
Or Matt Pearce.
Well, no, not me. No, not me. And probably not. It's not suitable for a Guilo actually, either actually, with Hong Kong's history. But
you are the Hong Kong resident. Why you cannot?
Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, saying that actually, there's people. I think listeners would have heard of a guy called Alan Zeman actually, who's Mr. Lang Kwai Fong, isn't he?
Yeah.
He recently has taken over
another
a China passport actually. And he's actually given up his Canadian passport.
Yeah.
So in theory, he
is a Chinese.
Yeah.
He's a full-blooded Chinese.
He gave me the CEO. Probably.
Yeah.
Because he got the home returning card.
Yeah. And there's another guy actually who's done exactly the same thing. A guy called Mike Rouse, who's I think he's just retired actually. He was the head of the tourist board or something. What was that called? The
Ocean Park?
The Hong Kong tourist. No, not tourist. Enterprise to do with social enterprise. He was the guy who was involved in the Harbour Fest fiasco.
Yes. In Chinese is solo, I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he also gave up his passport actually. I'm going back to the Obama thing. I mean, I think a more realistic comparison is say an Indian who's born in Hong Kong or in China, and there's many of them, who speaks fluent Chinese,
Mandarin, you mean?
Mandarin and Cantonese. And let's face it, there is a large Indian population in Hong Kong.
And we have wanted us. He's Indian and Pakistani and can speak very fluent Chinese and Cantonese.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, could he become, he or she? Let's say she. Actually, it could be a woman. Could she or he become the president of China or Hong Kong?
No, certainly not.
Yeah.
Because America is a multiracial society. It's really multiracial. And then if you watch or read anything about the long march of, for example, Afro-Americans, the long march towards equal opportunities, right? Starting from Martin Luther King up to Obama. It takes at least half a century, right? But for Chinese, the Chinese culture itself is a very, very strong centripetal and also very, very strong fusion culture. It fuses all people together, but basically, it becomes one large ethnic group we call the Han people, which itself actually consists of many, many different ethnic groups intermarrying for thousands of years and to become one large ethnic group. So after that, if someone so strange in outlook, you mean, has to integrated into Chinese culture. Yes, he can be a kind of a fringe existence, but he cannot really enter the mainstream.
I mean, I think that whole idea at the moment in China would not even be on the radar screen.
But maybe 500 years later, yes.
500, yeah. I mean, in some ways, perhaps a better comparison would be for perhaps a non-Han Chinese.
Yes, you can ask whether a Tibetan or a Mongolian. But actually, Mongolian and the Manchurian, the Manchu when they took over the empire, the Ming Empire. Actually, they are foreign. They were foreigners. But now, actually, they are so assimilated into the Han people. You can never distinguish against them from other Han people, right? So the Manchurian and Mongolian has been progressively assimilated into the Han ethnicities already. This has taken a long way. So actually, it's still very hard to imagine. For example, a Tibetan or a Xinjiang Uyghur ethnic minority become. He can become an important figure individually, but can he be for example, the party chairman? Yes, maybe still. But only one single person.
Because Obama, in some ways, he was a bit of a freak, actually, in the fact that he had immense political talent, actually.
Yes.
And it's unusual for someone to stand out from the crowd in terms of their oratory skills, and you can just tell, listening to the guy for 5 minutes, that he's a big thinker.
Really captivated.
I mean, who not only is a good talker, actually, he knows the direction. In which America needs to go, basically. What about a woman, for example? Could a woman become president of China?
If judging from Obama's case and Hillary Clinton's,
I mean that's an interesting.
I was privately, I would judge that it's because people still prefer a man, although of an ethnic minority, to a woman. Really, there's some deep-seated suspicion for a woman becoming a leader. So in this sense, the Americans are far lagging behind the British in terms of having Margaret Thatcher.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, Margaret Thatcher, she also was a bit of a freak, actually.
But she's so commanding at the time. So everybody forget that
she's a woman, actually.
Forgot
she's a woman. But I mean, it's interesting what you said about Hillary Clinton, actually, because I was talking to a good friend of mine who's an academic, who's a woman in her 40s, very strong. She was a Chinese woman, and she was very disappointed, actually, that Hillary Clinton
cannot make it.
That didn't make it, actually. And I can tell there's a lot of women out there, especially middle-aged women in their 30s and 40s and 50s, who are very disappointed, actually, that Hillary Clinton wasn't chosen, and they would say that it's blatantly sexist.
Maybe, but also I will myself comment that Hillary Clinton was just being unfortunate. That means it's very rare in one presidential campaign you can find two stars coming so close together, and in real comparison she was really beaten down. Even if Obama was a woman, I would think that Obama would still beat Hillary because his oratory skill if Obama was a woman, her oratory skill was far superior than Hillary. Now Hillary has been there for at least 16 years, you should say, right? When Bill came to the scene, it's 16 years ago, right? So if Hillary was that kind of oratory leader, people would already know, right? But she hasn't got that kind of charisma.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, a leader stands out, don't they? And she didn't have that sense that you can see.
She was smart, she was strong, she was everything, but she was not that captivating like Obama.
I think I agree with you about that. Another interesting question I'd like to ask you about to do with this, in terms of the Democrats within Hong Kong. Okay. You said earlier that Hong Kong and China, they just would not be ready to even think about an Indian, for example. What about the Democrats and the members of the LFD?
I cannot speak